chart, and you could be discriminated against as a result of them categorizing you as rude.
So this actually happened to me when I was postpartum with my second child. I was 2 weeks out and I had had a horrible 2 weeks. Let's start when I came home from the hospital. My ex husband literally said, "Oh, the laundry in the basement needs to be done, and are you cooking dinner?" I was like, "You better get somebody else to do it because no, I'm not doing any of that." I literally said, "I just pushed a human out of my vagina. No, I'm not." So for the next 2 weeks, I could not figure out why my baby just kept crying incessantly. She just would not stop crying, and she was breaking out in like all these little red bumps. Like it was bad, and I had no support, and I could not sleep. And he would just come in the middle of the night, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, screaming, "You're a horrible mother. You're a bad mother. You can't even get your own baby to stop crying." Like he was just not nice at all. So I went to her second week doctor visit, and I'm like telling the doctor, like, my doctor she was an African woman. And I'm just explaining to her what's going on because I'm tired. I can't get the baby to stop crying. She has all these red bumps all over her body, and I just can't figure it out. Like, I don't even have the energy to figure it out at this point. So she suggests that I speak to the psychiatrist on call, who was a white man. So I'm speaking to the psychiatrist and I'm telling him, like, listen, I'm just tired. This is what's going on with my ex-husband. Like, I'm just tired. Like, I just want to pack my kids up and I want to go. Like, I want to load them up into my truck with everything that I own, and I just want to leave and drive, until no one can find me. So he interprets this as I'm trying to kill myself. So he's now called CPS on me without my knowledge. He called CPS, and he's saying that he fears for my children's lives because I had uh, expressed that I wanted to kill myself. So fast forward, the CPS worker contacted me, and I told her, like, hey, I left. I'm at my grandmother's house, and because my first and last name, she thought I was a white woman, and I guess because of how I was speaking on the phone, she thought I was a white woman as well. So, mind you, she's a black woman. So she's like, don't worry about it. We're going to get you all the help that you need. Even if you need to find housing, we're going to make sure we do everything in our power to help you and your kids get to safety, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm telling her where my grandmother lives, and I'm outside working on my truck because my ex husband has come to my grandmother's house and disconnected the battery. So my dad and his friend and I are working on the car trying to figure out what's wrong with it. And she pulls up and she just walks past me. She didn't even know that it was me. So she goes to my grandmother's door and she's ringing the doorbell. So she rings the doorbell and my grandmother answers the door and she's like, "Oh, I'm looking for me." So I walk up to her and I'm like, "Oh, hi, I'm such and such, and you're looking for me." Immediately, she goes from a smile to, "Oh." So I'm like, okay. I wasn't even trying to pay too much attention to it because I'm like, all right, now, if she was to get me into an apartment and all that other stuff, like, I'm not even finna ruffle this lady feathers too much. So we get into my grandmother's house and she's like asking me what's going on, and I'm telling her, what's happening with my ex-husband, and well, he's my husband at the time, what was happening with my husband, and how I was just tired, and I'm like, I don't have a death wish or anything. Like, I'm just tired and I just needed to get a break, which is why I'm at my grandmother's house. So she's like, "You need to go back home to your husband." Just like that. So I go back to my husband's house and he's now turned into, Dr. Jekyll, Now he's somebody else. So she's like, "Oh, well, this is what's going on with your wife and we need to create a safety plan and blah, blah." So he now morphs into someone else, and he was like, "What?" He was like, my wife is a wonderful woman. She loves my kids dearly. I doubt that she would ever do anything like that. I feel completely safe with my wife having my children, full time and without supervision, because she was telling him that I needed constant supervision with the baby. So now she got an attitude because he's being nice now. "Oh, what's wrong with you? Look at your husband. Is he giving you all his praise and you talking about leaving him and wanting to kill yourself? What's wrong with you?" Like, just being so nasty. But all of this started because I told a white man that I was tired and I wanted to run away with my children from my husband who was being verbally and physically abusive at my daughter's 2-week checkup. Not even a full couple of months, 2 weeks. It does not matter what you look like, what you sound like. As a black and brown person, you're always going to be deemed as a threat, deemed as violent, deemed as rude, even from people who look like you in those positions.